Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Naomi and today again I have a very interesting topic for you about myself. In my last video I talked about my temperament test, of which I found out that I'm a melancholic stroke phlegmatic person. And today I'm going to talk about something different. Now, my personality. Apart from being a melancholic stroke phlegmatic, I have a personality. And I took that test again and found out that I am an adventurer. Yes, an adventurer. The way you were there looking at me and wondering who is an adventurer is the same way I was before I went ahead and did my research, and this is what I found out. I'm not just an adventurer, I'm an ISFP adventurer. Those initials stand for introverted, sensing, feeling, and perceiving adventurer. So I'm going to help you understand it better by breaking them down per initial so that you get to understand what I mean by being an adventurer. So us as ISPFs adventurers, we experience life deeply, creatively, and personally. So I will break down those initials for you, ISFP, in explanation so that you get to understand with me. So stay with me as I help you understand. So number one, we said I, which stands for introverted. Some people confuse introverts with being shy, and that is not how this is. Being an introvert does not mean you're shy or you don't want to, or you're quiet. It means you like solitude. You like to recharge when you're alone. You process emotions internally, and you prefer meaningful connections rather than surface level interactions. Yeah, so I become expressive in safe places only. By safe places, I mean in spaces where I'm comfortable, either with the environment or with the person that is around me. The moment I'm comfortable with you, that's when I can be an extrovert and start talking. But if I'm not, I'll just keep quiet and be an introvert. The second initial, which is S, stands for sensing, meaning I'm present, very observant, highly aware of atmospheres, emotions in a room, details others miss, and what's real and not hypothetical. Especially being aware of emotions in a room, like reading a room. When I enter a specific room, I read it. I read the emotions that are there and try to understand if at all I'm welcomed in this space or not. Like, I'm very sensitive when it comes to that area. And I look at the small details that I feel other people miss. Yes, that's being sensitive. Yes, being sensitive. I don't like a lot of theories, empty theories. You know, there are theories and there are empty theories. So I hate empty theories. I prefer truth. Actually, facts. If you're giving me a theory, give me that theory with a fact, because I'm more of a detailed person. I'll need more explanation. Number three, which is the F, stands for feeling. I make decisions based on personal values, compassion, and how something affects people emotionally. And at some point, I feel that is also an advantage, but a disadvantage. An advantage because it helps me become empathetic with people and understand their side, their emotional side. But the disadvantage with it is that I'll find myself making decisions out of emotions in spaces where they need me to be rational about it. So I find myself making decisions emotionally and not considering the rational part. Like, I use mostly my heart instead of my mind. And it becomes a disadvantage because it's like it's flooding my rational side of viewing things. And now I just focus on the emotional side. Yeah, so that's the disadvantage of it. But that's who I am. I'm deeply, deeply affected by injustice, pain, and unspoken wounds, especially pain. Yeah. That brings me to a conclusion of I don't just care, I value people and things. Like, As long as you're part of my life or something is part of me, I become so empathetic and so emotionally connected with it. So I don't just care, I carry people and things with me as long as I'm connected with them emotionally. Yeah. And the last one is perceiving. So this might sound weird for some people. Not everyone is like this. But as for me, I prefer flexibility over a rigid schedule sometimes. Like I prefer to just go with the flow rather than to write down a schedule. I prefer just being flexible and moving the way things will go like that. And responding to the moments rather than forcing an outcome that is not there. You know, the problem with forcing an outcome is that you will not live in acceptance. You will force yourself to accept something that is not there. But when you respond to to how the moment is, it is easily to accept the situation or whatever is happening around you and try and find a solution to it, rather than running towards forcing an outcome that is not there. I work well, me being a perceiving person, I work well when I'm inspired, especially when I'm inspired by something or someone. When I'm allowed to use my creativity, especially there, I hate being, not actually hating per se, but I don't love being limited when it comes to my creativity. Like I don't work well when I'm being told to be someone that I'm not, especially in my work areas. I prefer the person, allowing me to be creative in my own way. And then when the outcome comes, we can discuss where we can change and all that. But yes, which with that, it makes me become adaptable, even to changes, and open-minded. Because when I'm allowed to use my creativity, I can come up with things rather than being boxed in. And now you have to do what the person says, and it becomes hard for you to express your creativity. But now, the disadvantage again with me being a perceiving person is that I struggle with pressure. I people say they work good under pressure, but I don't. Because now that I'm supposed to be creative and think by myself, if you pressure me now, I will stop being creative and start being anxious. Yes. And yeah. So what makes me an adventurer? When you now sum up everything, the introverted part, the essential, the perceiving, and yes, the feeling person. I'm quietly bold. Can't say bold, but I think I am. I'm emotionally intelligent sometimes. I'm spiritually sensitive, especially that part. And I'm gentle, but not that powerful. Yeah. So my growth ages, I've learned something. I won't call them my weaknesses. I watched a video somewhere where they said you can try and call them your growth ages and not your weaknesses. Your growth ages meaning these are things that you've not grown to yet, but when you know them, now you'll start to grow in them. Like you'll now start to understand them. So my growth ages. Number one, I may avoid conflict to keep peace. I avoid conflict. And you know the weakness to that is that I will leave the other person in a space where he's full of questions. Either maybe they've seen that I've become disrespectful because I've avoided that conflict, or I'm disrespectful. But on my side, I avoid that conflict because I just want peace. I don't want problems. I want peace. Yes. I may bottle emotions until they overflow. Yeah, I'm more of a person who keeps, in my last video, I talked about it. I'm more of a person who keeps and bottles my emotions. When maybe I'm feeling angry at this moment, I won't talk about it. I'll bottle it up And then it will meet with this sad emotion, then I bottle them up like that. Then at some point or a scenario, I will find myself being overwhelmed with all the emotions. So the moment they all overflow and now become overwhelming, that is when I will speak out. Sometimes I doubt my impact because at some point I feel like I need validation. Because an example is if I'm doing something or maybe doing something I love and no one is giving me that validation that I want, that, wow, this video looks nice or whatever you're doing is nice. Sometimes I doubt whatever I've done. I'm like, okay, people have not complimented on my video. So what does that mean? It means there is something wrong somewhere. And maybe people don't see that, but that is how I view it. Sometimes structures can feel suffocating, even though they're helpful. But as long as they're not aligning with, sometimes if they will not align with what I'm doing, like let's say today, or what I'm doing generally, I will feel like they are not helping me. Instead, they are more of suffocating me. And for me to now, the growth edges to these weaknesses of mine is that I need to speak sooner. That is what I'm learning. Like, before it all gets overwhelming, before it all gets too much to me, I speak sooner and set boundaries. Because me being an adventurer, it means at some point I'm a perfectionist, and meaning I will tolerate everything that comes my way as long as it will help me in some point. And I find it to be, at the end of the day, it will either suffocate me or I don't know. Yes. So setting boundaries will also help. And this is not for me alone. I'm also speaking to anyone who will be watching this video and you are also an adventurer like me, an ISFP. You can watch this video and it will help you in some way. And another change that might help me in these weaknesses is trusting my voice, that my voice is needed and not just my heart. By that, I mean I should not just focus on giving decisions based on what my heart says, but just be rational about it. People will still understand. They will need that voice, not just your heart, not just your empathy side. People need that factual side, that rational side. There are people who need that. Okay? Yes. So I also went and researched how my ISFP is related to me in faith and in leadership and in purpose. How it will help me in those spaces. Number one, as a leader, I'll need to lead by example, because it means if I have people, they'll have to see what I do more so that they do also. And people feel safe with me. I said that in my last video also. People feel safe confiding in me. And I create space for healing and not pressure. And I'm proud of that. Yes. So learn to speak sooner. Us as adventurers, we have a problem of bottling up our emotions. But what I've learned, and what I want you to learn as an adventurer like me, learn to speak sooner. The moment you speak sooner of how you're feeling or how something is making you feel, especially when it comes to the structure part, it will help you to avoid bottling emotions up and to deal with one emotion at a time rather than letting them bottle up, and now they become overwhelming, and now you start making decisions out of emotions and how you're feeling at the moment. But speaking sooner helps you understand the feeling you're feeling at the moment and dealing with it before you now bottle up everything and it becomes overwhelming and it overflows and now you are out of control with it. I think I've explained everything one needs to know about an adventurer person, an ISFP. So if you have any other comment or any other information about an adventurer person, I will really, really love to know. You can leave them at the comments and we can discuss more about it. But for now, that is the end of my video. See you next time. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you then. Bye.